This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles, on the Rockstar Radio Network. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author U and the Book Shepherd on the Rockstar Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, happy summer day to everyone. It's been certainly an amazing week. Those of you who have been caught up in all the Olympics, as someone who lives in Colorado, and specifically Aurora, Colorado, that it is fabulous to see some really great news with some of our phenomenally young local talent, and Missy Franklin, who we're all extraordinarily proud of. And Ms. Missy goes to high school just within a mile from where I live. So we're thrilled with her achievements, her accomplishments, as well as so many of the other Olympians. Well, we're going to talk today about how you can be an Olympian. And part of the really the secret weapons, the secret tools of being an Olympian when it comes to authoring is going to come from some of the things that you hear on your guide to book publishing today. And I also wanted to share, part of the tools is certainly the internet, because our guest is going to be getting into all those things, as well known as the nerdy best friend is. But I had Carol McManus on just 2 weeks ago, and she does a show on the Rockstar Radio Network, the LinkedIn Lady. And I was listening to her, and I was actually making some changes on one of my LinkedIn profiles. And we have one of our sponsors, Author U, is actually 3 years old this month, and Author U has a group, and I would encourage all our listeners to join the group today and add your voice, ask your questions, take advantage of the growing community. But when I started Author U just a few years ago, I had gone ahead and pulled down the Author U LinkedIn name for the group, and that just basically didn't do a heck of a lot. Every once in a while I'd throw something up. So after I was listening to Carol, I decided, okay, I'm going to kickstart this baby and get it going. And so on July 26th, let me give you some numbers. July 26th, it was 70 people who were in it. And this morning when I took a peek at it, and I put up a posting on, because I don't know if all of you knew, but yesterday, the 8th of August was Wiggle Your Toes Day. Well, today, the 9th, is National Book Lovers Day. So I wanted to put up a post like that and say, what books do you love? But when I checked the numbers, over 522 people have joined the Author U LinkedIn community. And so I hope you do add your voice. What's great fun, it is all over the world that people are joining in. So that makes it just a lot of fun. Well, let's jump into what we're going to be talking about with our nerdy best friend. And Beth Ziesenis is with us again today. And she's the author of a great little handbook called The Upgrade to Free, the best free and low-cost online tools and apps. And we're going to get into some of these tools, and from Dropbox to Surveymonkey to F.Lux, and so to speak. And Beth is going to walk us through what are the pros, cons, when do we use them, when we don't, and how will they make your authoring and book publishing life so much better. So Beth, welcome back to your guide to book publishing.
Well, thank you very much for having me on again.
Well, we loved having you. You've got one of the most downloaded podcasts that we have in our repertoire from last time. So we'll encourage our listeners to go back and listen to that one. Look it up on our inventory. So what are we going to do today?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit of a downer. I hate to say it, but I think it
sounds
so
like
critical.
hacking. It sounds like what happens when you get hacked.
It is. We need to talk about that because so many of the tools that we're using as writers, as authors, to do our marketing and things. So many of those things are online based, and there have been so many problems lately. Mm-hmm. People have to pay attention. Even those of us who don't want to pay attention, we have to lock this stuff down.
All right, so let's get into how do you move from hacked to unhacked?
Well, the first thing you need to do is really prevent hacking altogether. And the best thing you can do to start with that is to check on your password security. Now, I am definitely one of the worst. I've been using one of my main passwords since I was, 12. And I did an analysis. One of the tools that I'm about to tell you about gave me the tools to do an analysis of all these different sites in seconds. It went out to all this history on my computer, all these different sites, and it found that I had used this one password 82 times on different sites.
Okay.
82 times. And what this means, now it's no big deal if you're on, a simple little site and you use a simple little password, you think, just the one you kind of keep for lower level stuff. And that's no big deal. But the problem is when you use that same password for lower level stuff and then forget about it and keep using it for higher level stuff. Because once they figure out that one password, somebody could get 80 some odd accounts that I have all over the universe, and that's just not right. That would mess up our worlds like you wouldn't believe. So the first thing you need to do is get a hold of your password, and there are a couple of ways you can do it. I downloaded a great tool called LastPass. There are several of them, but I use LastPass.
LAST passed?
Yeah, LASTPASS.
Oh, PASS. Okay.
Yes, like password.
Uh-huh.
And it stands for the last password you ever have to remember.
Oh, does that sound exciting?
Yeah. The concept of this one is that you set up one password and integrate all your other sites into this system so that you just need to log into LastPass, and it will help you log into any page on your computer or on any of your devices that you go to. It's going to remember everything. It's going to help you. But that's really just the first step, is to kind of lock down and get a password management system. The second step is to go back, because LastPass was the one that evaluated all those sites that I had been on and found that I had been using 87 of the same password. And so you have to go to those sites and change your password. And you should be changing your password on a fairly regular basis anyway, but this will help you identify those sites and be able to go. And it'll generate random, weird passwords for you as well so that you can use them on those sites.
Well, let me ask you this, because I am password challenged. I'm going to be the first to admit it, and I'm afraid that I may pass your mark for 82. I don't know, but this is confession time, and then I know my producer Wayne is going, "Oh my God, Judith!" But here, and he's already writing me a note telling me that. But my concern is this, that what happens is if LastPass forgets and then they ask you all these things and you're in hieroglyphics and all that, what in the heck could you do?
Well, if you know you're taking a chance, but you're taking a chance on everything. So if you are with LastPass and LastPass goes out of business, for example, most sites give you ways to recover your password in different ways. You can also, on a regular basis, download LastPass data, so you have it on your computer. Of course, don't store it in the cloud. Store it locally, so you have it. And in addition, they've got some security things where you can actually download or have devices, physical things that you control rather than that are on the web or in the cloud that you can use to manage that password situation.
All right, so Beth, what you're saying is that you should download it. So I'm assuming you're downloading it to your desktop so you can access a file in case everything breaks down. Or are we downloading it somewhere else?
Well, it's a couple of things. LastPass is a website that you sign up on, and I think it's like $12 a year to get the deluxe version, so that's what I got. And the deluxe version lets you have access on your phone and iPad and your other devices as well. But it's actually free to sign up, and then you have this site online, but it also is plugins for your browser. And that's really the main place you use it. So as soon as I go to a website, I can choose to have it autofill, or I can choose to have it actually auto-log in. So there are sites that I use every day that I just press a button and I'm in, and I don't have to fill it out and then fill it out and fill it out. And I've definitely moved past that very basic password and done some really important things.
So the free version on LastPass will allow you to do what?
Will allow you to be basically web-based for your computer work rather than on the phone. And here's what happens on the phone. I installed it on my phone, and so I go into one of the apps that is linked to some of my main accounts, like a Dropbox app or something like that. And they're going to ask for my password to get into my account. Well, if it's all that gobbledygook and those symbols, which it should be, then it's going to be hard for me to like even type it. So when I have that app on my phone, I just press a button or two and it says copy password, and then you can copy and paste it into there. And you have to have a very, very tough password to get into LastPass. So you want to create, and this is another site I want to tell people about, and I don't want to be all doom and gloom, so we'll be able to talk about more fun stuff. But one of the sites that I'm going to tell you about allows you to see how long it would take a basic computer hacking program to figure out your password.
Eek.
And
that's scary.
It is very scary. But one of the things they talk about is to do an entire sentence or a phrase or something. So, if you graduated in 1986, you can say, I graduated from Allen High School in 1986, and that could be your password. And the longer it is, the more kabillions of years that it would take for someone to hack it. The shorter it is and the more simple it is, a 0.1 seconds to hack it. So it's a fun, the site to check your password, and I know everybody's going to do this as soon as you can because you should, is howsecureismypassword.net.
Okay, so howsecureismypassword.net. All right, when we come back, I can hear the fabulous music coming on. That when we come back, we'll get much more into it. And I want Beth to tell us about what happened with Dropbox and LinkedIn when it did get hacked. So that password to check you out is howsecureismypassword.net.
Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Change the way you publish online. Wavecloud is a new forum for authors to manage all their books' information in one place from start to finish, including pricing and listing summary. To learn more or sign up for email updates, visit wavecloud.com.
Every picture tells a story. And it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Alrighty, so I got cut off at the very end as I was saying what you want to go to check out your password management site. So if you go to the website howsecureismypassword.net, howsecureismypassword.net, and find out what's going on. Beth and I and Wayne. Wayne says he has the record for over 80, he thinks. But we were talking about LinkedIn and the Dropbox fiasco. And actually, where in the heck can you keep track of all your passwords? Because Beth said, don't do it in the cloud. And some of you are going, well, it's a blue sky. There's not many clouds out. No. We're talking about the cyber cloud here. So, Beth, let's tell them places, the do's and don'ts here. I think that's a smart thing to do. And the second thing is that can you just give us a very quick recap of what in the heck did happen with LinkedIn and Dropbox and the whole dominoing effect of that, and how can we protect ourselves?
Well, let me just talk in general about some of the major things that have happened. Yahoo, LinkedIn, Zappos, the shoe store.
Oh, my favorite.
One of the dating sites, I can't remember which one. And then a very high-profile hack and complete destruction of data by a guy who's a journalist in the computer industry and is like very famous. And his name is, let me get his name here. He's so famous I forgot it.
So he was hacked
Matt
into, or
Honan.
Okay. He was hacked into, or he hacked?
He was hacked into in a horrifyingly bad way. He lost like years of pictures, or a whole year of pictures of his young daughter. Mm-hmm. His iPhone, his iPad, his MacBook were all wiped clean, and his Twitter accounts were hijacked.
Wow.
Just chaos.
What awful people. I mean, and these are the cyber terrorists of today, correct?
Well, yeah, and sometimes they do it just because they can, and sometimes they do it because they're malicious and trying to get more information and trying to, be able to get in there and make a mess. Because some people do it, there are whole groups of people do it just to make a point that it can be done and that we should all be aware. These people don't have enough things to do. I could give them some tasks other than this, but they do it, and there you go.
Well, I think they should be slammed big time. But, okay, yeah. So, all right. So where should we keep them and where shouldn't we?
Well, if you have a physical list of passwords that you use, do not store it any place that advertises that you can access anything from anywhere. And that means if you have Dropbox, if you have Evernote, if you have any of those sites that are shared, you definitely don't want to keep it there. In addition, even keeping it on your hard drive, if you access your hard drive or access your home computer via Log Me In or anything where anybody can get in there, or you're on an open network, also not a good place. That's why I think you should use, one of these services, RoboForm, which is an oldie and a goodie, which actually was made to fill out forms for you, but it really has evolved into a great password manager and security manager. Then KeePass, KeePass, that is an open source version, and then meaning that it was put together by a community and supported by a community rather than a for-profit kind of thing. They may charge some money there, and but not much. And then the one I chose was LastPass, and I really like it. And again, the password.
And what do you spell, Beth? How do I spell that? The last one.
Like the last password you'll ever need.
Okay, we got that. All right.
So that's the one. That's the one I chose. What I'd like to do for your listeners is set up a Dropbox maybe or something with 2 of my recent newsletters, because I send out a newsletter every week, and I have sent out 2 different ones on the importance of security and how to check things. I've got some sites on there that will allow you to see if any of your emails have ever been compromised.
And then, you know what, also, send me the direct links to those. If they're sitting on your blog or your website, if you'll send me the direct links via email, then I'll post it up on my Twitter accounts, which we've got 17,000 followers. And we'll start pushing it out, and we'll put it into the LinkedIn Author U group. In fact, you might want to start a discussion on this and get going, and we'll start pointing people, because I think this is really critical.
Well, the tough thing is that, we were all talking during the break. The big thing is that we're all smart people. We work on the computers every day. We think we know what we're doing most of the time.
Yeah.
And we are creatures of habit, and we get lazy. I don't want to say lazy, but it's lazy. And there are some things we need to do to change that, but certainly it's very easy for us to lose sight of how damaging this can be if a problem happens.
Oh, yeah, it can crush your business. I mean, that really, when we thought, when I started writing books in 1981, when my very first book, we did it on a yellow pad. And that's how we did it. And I remember my secretary harassing me to get a word processor. And I told her, Louie, I need to feel my words. And she said, I'm sick of feeling them. Get me a word processor. So we did that.
I'm not feeling it anymore.
Yeah, she says, I'm numb. But, I mean, that is the evolution that, I have 5 laptops in various parts. I mean, I am always on them. Always.
Yep,
on
we
them.
all are. There's a site, here's an interesting one I just want to throw out there that's kind of fun. It's called 10-Minute Mail, 10-Minute Mail. And there are several sites like this, but what 10-Minute Mail and the other sites do is give you a temporary email. So let's say you're registering on a site that you're not really sure about and you're kind of worried about. So you go and get a temporary email, which is gobbledygook, and it lasts for 10 minutes. And so it says, go to your email and click this button to confirm your registration, and you do. It's kind of no big deal, because then it goes away.
So if you want to reduce your spam, this might be a great way if you are out there exploring on the Internet to have this. So great recommendation, 10minutemail.com. All right? All right. Now, you had on one of the lists, what do you think about, Surveymonkey is one of my favorite tools that I use. What do you think about that?
I tell you, Surveymonkey has come so far in terms of its scope and what it can do for you. When I started using Surveymonkey, it was a long time ago, and it was a pretty basic tool. I used the free version, and then I upgraded to the paid version, and I still had to do a lot of work in a large data analysis. I can remember my father's a statistician, and I ended up hiring him for a couple of projects. He gave me the money back, but that's beside the point. But I hired him for a couple of projects to help us analyze, so that we could break it down by industry / business size and look at some different trends. All of that is built into SurveyMonkey's regular service these days. And it makes for such a strong tool. It's a couple $100 a year, I think, for their premium service, or for their moderately premium service. But if you do data analysis, if you are really getting the pulse of your industry as an author, it is a fantastic tool. One of the neat things they just implemented, maybe it was a year ago, is text analysis. So you have an open-ended question. It will actually, in some of the higher levels of membership, it will look at the text in there and analyze the trends. So you don't have to read everyone and trying to figure out, what people are saying as a general rule. Fantastic tool.
Well, I think I have actually written whole books with Surveymonkey as a genesis. I mean, it has been, I do the paid service. And for our listeners, you need to know you can do a free survey if you only ask 10 questions and you bring in 100 responses, and that's when it stops. So how do you do more? Well, you create more and you just keep recreating it, and that's where it blogs together. But here's one of the things I learned, because I would go after thousands of responses, is that once you get about 25 responses in, guess what? It is, the trend's there. Trust me, I've done so much national survey work. Once you get that first sludge in, it's there. It may just for 1% or 2%, but where your answers are going. It's really great fun. All right, we've got a couple of minutes before we're at the bottom of the hour in the break. Can you tell me what bento is, Beth? You had bento on your list to talk about. What is that?
Well, I've recently become a Mac.
It's a Mac thing. It's a Mac thing.
Yeah. But it's so interesting. And I wanted to talk about it because it's helping us gather and organize information. And think of it as the concept of a bento box. It's an inventory management tool that allows you to capture, just much like a survey would, individual data fields of different things. And this is very interesting to me right now because I'm working on my second book about free and bargain tech tools. And I'm actually building it in Bento. Mm-hmm. I will export it as an Excel spreadsheet, import it as a mail merge, and write the book that way.
Oh, fabulous. Well, see, those are the kind of tools I think all of us authors need to get. When we come back after this break, I want you to get into some of the things that also will expand and make that home office more comfortable for us as we become these masters of the universe words. This is Judith Briles. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. Nick Zellinger will be joining us to give us some tips from the designer, from interiors and exteriors, and, of course, Beth with more hot, great ideas. We'll be right back.
This is Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on Your Guide to Book Publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you with discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Do you need postcards that make a statement? How about business cards, flyers, brochures, or NCR forms? Two Vets is the solution for all your printing needs. Providing services specially designed for authors, we deliver exceptional quality colored printing. Most important of all, we specialize in reducing your printing costs. No more waiting. No more standing in lines at your local printer. Online proofing. With our pricing tools calculator, you can get instant quotes on all your printing products, as well as shipping rates all over the United States. Just a few clicks of the mouse and you're on the way to discovering how easy and convenient online color printing should be. Contact our friendly, human account representatives. We recognize that you want answers, not voice prompts. Visit our website at www.tu-vets.com or call 1-800-894-8977.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers, creating beautiful and well-made books. We're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, one of my very favorite people in the whole world is Nick Zellinger, who is one of our sponsors. And Nick and I are actually up in our eyeballs because we are laying out my next book, which is called Author U, as in Y-O-U, creating and develop the author and book platforms. And we're having great fun with it because we're breaking all the rules and doing things really differently. Aren't we, Nick?
There are. My ears are ringing from all the designers in the world.
I'm doing. We've got fabulous color, but we got these 2-page spreads. It's almost like I was thinking of a kid's book as you go through it, because I'm trying to touch on all the creative. And Nick is really good in both interior, in the design, and the creative, especially the exterior. And Nick doesn't just think out of the box; he just makes new boxes. So, what are we going to share today, Nick?
Well, a couple of things. There's been an ongoing discussion I've been having with other designers via LinkedIn just about the nature of design. But, an item that keeps coming up, or subject matter keeps coming up, is obviously cover design, but the fact that authors need to understand who they're writing for. Now, I know that you do a lot of this work with authors, shepherding them into their message and making sure that they have the right message. But sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect after the book gets written and the interior is laid out. When they get to the cover design, there's a little bit of disconnect. Maybe it's the excitement of the visual aspect of a cover, but the challenge is to get the cover to really zero in on what the inside of the book is, as to convey the message of what's the interior. And a lot of that is going to just be research on the part of an author, knowing who their audience is, understanding who their target demographic is, so that they can do the research online and see, comparable covers. So, not to get too excited and off track by the visual elements of a cover, just because it's a good design. Because if it's a good design, it's not going to sell your book if it's not the right cover for your book. So that's and just a kind of an important aspect when you start designing, is to sit down and go, who's my audience? Who's my readership? Who am I writing for? And then
exactly.
And then the second thing is basically something that's come up this summer with a variety of jobs that I've gone through, and it's the workflow that authors and designers and editors go through when they're doing changes, especially when a deadline is looming to get a book to a printer. But I think it's important to avoid missing changes and corrections by keeping your changes in a simple, direct flow to the designer. In other words, we have a tendency as designers and even authors is to, email is so easy. We can drop a note in an email, but if designers getting 15, 20 changes in 15, 20 emails on a book, you can almost guarantee that some of those messages are going to get missed during the course of a day or a week. So I would suggest to authors when they're getting their books laid out with the designer that once that goes to layout and the layout comes back and you're going it over one more time for a final check and you see changes, you keep the changes in either one or two simple files that a designer will see versus a message on a phone or one message, one change for an email, because that dribbling in effect is going to pretty much drown you with missed changes.
Yeah, and the other side of that, and that's critical, Nick, is that my experience with a lot of designers is they don't read in the detail. I mean, they're doing the designing part of it, so you can't just say page 22, change this word to this phrase. What you have to do is say page 22, third paragraph, third line.
That's really true. The misconception is that
read
designers read the entire thing. Yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah, we just don't. I mean, we do see things along the line like maybe a space with a period or some spatial problems that we fix on the fly, but very rarely do we have the luxury to sit and actually read a book when we're laying out. We're doing a visual, making sure that there's not multiple hyphenations, making sure that the kerning is handsome enough and there's room, and so it looks appealing and it flows well.
Exactly. All right. Well, great tips. Thank you so much, Nick. Sure. And for all our listeners, Nick has got a couple of great discussions going on the Author U group on LinkedIn, dealing around design. So go to it and add to the conversation. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Judith.
Bye. All right, Beth, we're back, and you left us with, which I thought was a fabulous idea, the 10minutemail.com to get a temporary email that lasts only 10 minutes. And you shared also that Bento was a good tool for our Mac lovers. And I wanted to really get some ideas about, how do you make this? Authors, you're a unique breed. I'm one of these people that finds water. I have to have water, whether it's fountain water or pond water or the beach. I have to hear and better yet see water. It's my muse. So how do you make these offices? What kind of tools have you found that really can make offices, besides the visual thing, more comfortable as authors are going together and working it with their computers?
Well, one of the first things that I think some of us who have home offices don't really think about, and even people who work in a regular office don't really think about, is ergonomics. I mean, we sit in front of our computer for how long every day? It's just an amazing amount, and we've all seen those studies that have come out lately about how bad that is for us. So one of the things that I loved, one of the free tools that's out there, is a product it's a free wizard called Ergonomics Simplified. And this takes you through a series of questions to ask you about where you are in your office and what happens and things like that. And then it gives you recommendations about changes you can make in monitor height, in where your elbows sit, and all kinds of stuff to make you feel more comfortable in your office and to prevent you from really getting some problems like back problems or carpal tunnel or any of those other kind of things.
And which is common, especially when you're on these things as long as we are. All right, and you also told me something about a thing called loose cubes. So what's that all about?
Oh, gosh. This is so exciting and a little bit disappointing, and I'll tell you why in just a second.
Oh, the pros and cons. Here they come.
Well, let's talk about co-working, because co-working is what Loose Cubes is all about. And co-working is about a community, an office that opens up its doors, a large office area that opens up its doors to allow small businesses, people who are working on different things to come in and rent office space. And you can rent it by a very small amount of time, and you can rent an office full-time. So if you have a home office and sometimes you find yourself being not very productive, these co-working places are fantastic options to have a place outside the home to really get some things done. A lot of them have conference rooms that you can use. A lot of them are based on different concepts. Like there's one here that's called the HERA Hub, H-E-R-A Hub, here in San Diego, and that's for women. It's all about women, strong women, entrepreneurs, moms, folks who are really starting their own business, women, and they do programs for them. They have networking events for them, and they allow these spaces. So this is a co-working situation, and co-working can cost between, $75 a month is what I found one to be for 20 hours a week, which is a lot. Some of them are $35 a day. Some of them are $300 a month. It just depends, and they've got all kinds of different rules. But if you search for co-working in your area, you're probably going to find a lot of things. But let me tell you about Loose Cubes, and let me tell you why I'm a little sad. So Loose Cubes is this crazy site that went to all these co-working places and asked them if they would like to put some of their office space up on for free. Basically, it's free right now. Mm-hmm. So you go on Loose Cubes and you register, and it shows you where people are offering space, and you can just sign up and show up. It's
wow,
crazy.
That's fabulous.
And you can go to places up to 3 times a month. So any individual place. And there are 5 places here in San Diego. So ostensibly, I could go 15 days a week to various places to get out of the house and to meet other people. I went to one not very long ago, and I met 3 different companies, startups. I made a connection about maybe giving a presentation to small business owners, and all within one day. And I had some nice tea. It was very cool.
So let me ask you this. On Loose Cubes, and we have a minute before we have our final break, but on Loose Cubes, and for our listeners, Beth is in San Diego, that let's say I'm in Colorado, if I wanted to find something, that are you able to lock down so many days and just reserve it and it's yours for a month ahead, or is it just one day at a time?
You can do one day. You can do up to 3 times a month in any place, and you can reserve it.
I could secure a month. So I could say, okay, so I'm going to be in my office for example, I'm going to use me, North Denver on Monday, Wednesday, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to be in the metro area, South Metro area, or Castle Rock or something like this, and I'm going to be here. So you could have an illusion that you are big.
Yes. Yes, you could.
Woo! That's kind of wild. All right, we're going to come in for our final break, and we're going to come back, and let's get into talking about IT, our searches, our Tote Force, and free virus software. This is Judith Briles. My guest is Beth Ziesenis, who is an amazing, your nerdy best friend. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. We'll be right back.
This is Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Writing and reading are moving to the cloud. Wavecloud represents a whole new community for writers and readers to connect, communicate, evaluate, and share. Writers hone their craft and build their business. Readers build their favorites. Sign up for updates at wavecloud.com.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at MyBookShepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Oh, these hours go too bloody fast. They just do. All right, so what we want to do in this last segment is really talk about how do you deal with errors, how do you search for them on your IT side, and some of the virus software, what's working, what's not working. And then Beth did say that on the loose cubes, which I got all excited about because I think a lot of authors would be interested in that all over North America, and I expect globally that could be rolling, but that they have pulled back to their pre-beta station. Is that right, Beth?
Yes. So what happened is everybody who was registered, and I was registered luckily, is still in the system and can still use it, and we get 3 invitations to give to people, and I don't even know who to give it to because it's so wonderful, but they're going to close it to new people. But let me tell you about this other one that's similar, but it does have a little bit more money associated with it, but you can find some deals. Deskwanted.com.
Deskwanted.com, okay.
Deskwanted.com. So you can go there and find things in your area. Same kind of idea.
Okay. So and it could be a nominal fee, but even if it was $50 a month, that's a heck of a deal to roam around to get 15 days of office space. And how many hours is it all day?
It varies it varies with every program.
Okay. All right. So do the details, but here's what we need for our listeners. There's possibilities out there. So you need to do your Google searches and be creative and see. But is co-working the key word? What is it?
Yes.
What are the key words, Beth?
Co-working. If you search for co-working in your area, you will come up with places that allow you to go in and rent space, smaller rooms and things like that for a certain period of time.
Okay, great idea. All right, and then how about let's take the care of IT, and we need to now do the care and feeding of our ID department, which for most authors it's them. So what do we need to do?
Well, the first thing that I like to tell people that they really don't realize is that everything that's happened to you has happened to other people.
Oh yeah.
Every single thing that knocks your socks off, that freaks you out, that makes you uncomfortable, you open it up and there's this weird error message. It has happened before. Mm-hmm. So you are not unique. And the cool thing about that is that all the geeks in the world get together and talk about these problems and tell people how to fix them for free all over the place. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I do when I have a problem is I copy and paste, or I get the exact wording of that error message, and I throw it into Google. Oh,
and then do a search what the heck it means.
Yes, because
good idea.
more than likely you'll end up on a computer forum where people who are just generous with their time and their answers will have had a discussion about this error that has happened, and there you go. Your problems are explained. It's the same thing if you just notice a behavior with something going on and you're like, well, this is weird. If you describe that behavior in Google, you will find other people more than likely that have that behavior.
Fabulous. Okay.
And a lot of these sites, and there are so many of them, it's not like I can point you to one, but a lot of these sites have step-by-step instructions to fix it. Step by
Perfect.
step.
All right. Excellent. All right. What else could we do here?
Well, another thing that happens is you have a weird problem. Like I got my iPhone several years ago, my first iPhone, and it was the 3G version or what have you. And gosh dog it, I couldn't send email out. I could get email in. That was no problem. But every time I sent it out, it just got stuck. It wouldn't go anywhere. And believe it or not, and I tried this so much, I tried it for 2 weeks. Believe it or not, looking at the phone and cussing did not work.
No, it doesn't.
That was not a good technique, and I thought that would work. And I consider myself pretty smart, so it really irritated me. I couldn't figure it out.
And don't throw it either. Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. So I ended up, finally, I had heard about this service called Twelp Force.
Twelp
It's like
Force.
Workforce, but with the word Twelp. TWELP. Like help, but Twelp for Twitter.
Okay, Twelp Force. So all one word. All righty.
Twelp Force. And what Twelp Force is, it's the Best Buy Geek Squad online.
Ooh, good information. Okay.
Oh, this is fantastic. So you tweet your problem to the Best Buy Geek Squad, and I did. I tweeted out that I couldn't send email from my cell phone, from my iPhone. And I expected nothing. And within 2 minutes, because what happens is it's a general Twitter account or whatever, tweeting kind of area, and then individual technicians will just take it offline with you and start talking to you. So one guy wrote me back, and he asked me like 2 questions, and I answered it, again, expecting nothing, and kind of crossing my arms saying, well, if I can't solve it, you can't solve it.
Exactly.
And within 5 minutes, he sent me to a site on my provider's website that had a video called How to Get Email to Send from Your New iPhone.
Okay.
How embarrassing was that? That he solved my problem that I had been so frustrated about for 5 minutes. So this is a fantastic tool for writers who are sitting there trying to get something done, and something goes haywire or something's not working right, and frankly, that can stop your whole day if you're just kind of roaming around trying to figure something out. You can tweet this to Twelp Force. Now I think they have a Facebook page, so if you're not on Twitter, you can kind of hang out in the Facebook area. You can just talk to them, and they will write you back. I've used it several times, and they're so polite, and they're so helpful, and I don't know if they're doing it between customers. I don't know if it's a dedicated workforce. I don't know what it is, but they're great.
And Beth, this is a freebie? I mean, you just kind of, so you've got your own personal geek?
Yep.
Oh, my God. Heart be still. Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right. And what about some of the free virus software that's floating around out here? I mean, it used to be that we only did Norton. And then there's lots of other stuff. So what do you recommend?
Well, the most robust free antivirus software that people recommend is called AVG Free.
AVG, so that's Apple Victor George. AVG Free.
AVG Free. People raved about that. Now, I got to tell you, just like the passwords, I'm guilty of kind of defaulting to the software that is installed on my computer when I get it.
Yeah, God, me too.
Well, they send such horrible messages. They say, within an hour, your computer will be vulnerable to death traps and all kinds of problems. They send these horrible warnings, and they're like, if you don't pay us right now, bad things will happen to your computer and your system. And you pay. You up again for another 2 years or whatever, because it gets scary. And another thing is, I feel very vulnerable when I'm switching providers, because you got to remove one to put one on. Yeah. And you feel like during that 3 minutes.
You're going to die.
Minutes. Yeah.
You're going to die, and everyone's going to hell with you. It's awful.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, do you know anything but while we're on this, do you know anything about a group called Avast.com, A-V-A-S-T? That's supposed, my producer emailed me saying that's one he likes, and he's a nerd.
Yep, that is another one. And I don't know, it's Avast, like Avasti maybe,
Avast.
or Avast. I don't know how to say it. But yes, that is another one that people have recommended very strongly.
So that's over the ones, and this is a freebie. You don't have to pay for it.
Correct. I'm on their site right now. I don't remember if they have a paid version, but yeah, they have a pro version. But they do have free versions for both Mac and PC, I believe, and they've got a fantastic reputation as well.
So how do they? I mean, we only have 2 minutes to go here, but how do they make their money if it's free?
Well, they have the pro versions. And they encourage people to do the pro versions. And frankly, for some of these things, I go ahead and pay. I don't mind paying for peace of mind, especially when so many things are so worrisome these days.
Okay. All right. Well, it is worrisome as they go in. All right, Beth, one final tip. Anything that you want to add that we want our listeners until you come back as our nerdy best friend next time?
Well, I would like to add that all these tools and tips take time and energy to set up. And you really need to set aside some time and really think through, okay, what is my security plan? What's it like? It takes a long time, but it's time you need to spend to put this in order. So block out some time, really make an effort, and change the way you're working so that you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Well, that's smart to do. And then what do you do? Let me ask you this. I think this is everyone's wondering, because we all do have programs loaded on our computers. That what do you got to delete, or do you put one on and then delete the other, or do you just keep everything?
I end up, well, now I have a Mac, and so it's easier to delete some of these things. But there are some uninstaller tools for a PC and for a Mac that are very helpful, and I would definitely manage those things and kind of get the dead weight off your computer. It's easy. We got a lot of space on our computers these days, but we don't necessarily have to keep the world on there.
In 10 seconds, give me one for a PC. What's the name of one for a PC?
One of the uninstallers. I don't know any offhand. You caught me.
So, I gotcha. I got to love that. All right, Beth, thank you so much for being with us. The author of Upgrade to Free, the best free and low-cost online tools and apps. Beth Ziesenis is your nerdy best friend. And go to her website and get all the information you need at nerdybestfriend.com. I'm Judith Briles, or Ask the Nerdy Best Friend. I'm Judith Briles. We'll be back with you next week.
Thank you for being a part of your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.